Ladies and gentlemen, we just got one of our biggest updates pretty much ever on the Switch 2, and it's answering major questions we have, plus giving us extra information that puts all of this in perspective, and I'm finally happy to be able to report all this, so let's go ahead and get right into it. When we talk about the next Nintendo console, there's one main question we really care about, at least at the time right now, and is this thing going to be backwards compatible? Well, I have an answer for that and more today. Before we get started, if you could, hit a like and subscribe, it would truly mean the world to me. And I stream a couple of nights a week right here on YouTube, so come and hang out sometime. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So quickly, this is completely off topic. I'm not even a football fan or anything, but the Super Bowl's happening in 2 hours, so I'm going to see if I can predict who wins. I'm going to pick that the 49ers win, just because. So maybe tomorrow when this video comes out, I was from the future and I had all the answers. Nintendo Switch 2 will reportedly have digital and physical backwards compatibility plus enhanced older games. I don't know how I feel about that last part, but let's continue. The report comes from the Brazilian website Universal Nintendo, which in the past has correctly published information about a number of Nintendo Direct presentations and the official title of Sonic X Shadow Generations ahead of its reveal. I actually get a lot of my information from that website and the person who runs it, Felipe, so I go there daily for sources. Twitter account Central Leak shared a translated version of the details across social media, which claims the original Nintendo Switch games will be playable on the company's next console, whether you own them on a cartridge or via the eShop. So it's got to be this thing where it's like the DS to the 3DS, right? DS games can work on the 3DS, 3DS games cannot work on the DS. So I'm assuming that the Switch cartridge is going to be just a little bit different for the next console. Side note, can we start a petition now to bring color cartridges back? Like Pokemon Yellow and Fire Red and Pokemon Crystal and all these other games. Can we bring color cartridges back? Oh my god, where is the personality in gaming right now? Developers can also supposedly enhance games released on the OG Nintendo Switch to take advantage of the Switch 2 extra processing power. That also lines up with what we heard last year at Gamescom when the Switch 2 was being shown off as like a tech demo and they were saying that they were playing an enhanced version of Breath of the Wild. I think that's okay, right? But it's like we could be using those resources on just newer games. Leave the past in the past, port them over the way they are. What's the point at this point? And I think, I don't really see the point. And are they going to be charging you like a lot of money for that? It's like, yeah, you own Breath of the Wild, but pay an extra $25 and it'll look better on the Switch too. It's like, I'll just play it on the Switch. It's perfectly fine. If that's just something that automatically happens where they enhance the games and it's just a free update, then sure, but I still think those resources could be used elsewhere. The Switch 2, or whatever it ends up being called, is the center of rumor whirlwind these last months. One industry survey revealed that 8% of game developers were already working on titles for the Switch successor. Another analyst said it had an 8-inch LCD screen. All of this is lining up, and if we can just pinpoint what we've heard over and over, or what multiple leaks have said, or multiple industry people, and kind of put it into one big Switch 2 ball. 1, 8-inch screen. 2, an LCD screen. 3, a March reveal and a fall release. We're now on to 4. Oh my god, if we add another one, we'll have 5. Oh my god, I've cracked the code. And 5, it's got backwards compatibility. If everything that I just mentioned turns out to be true, and just that, there's no extra bells and whistles, there's no extra crazy stuff going on, I'm perfectly fine with this console. I felt selfish at the beginning when people were talking about the Switch successor, and people were like, oh, it has to have 4K screen, and it has to have this, and it has to have that. I always just wanted a better version of my Switch. Like, I love my Switch. I just want new games and it to look a little bit better. I didn't want Nintendo to go off the rails on like a crack binge and start making crazy consoles that have like spaghetti noodles for controllers or something. I just wanted a better version of my Switch. And in the beginning, when I would say that to people, are like, no, then that's pointless. Why would we have a new console? And I'm like, dang, am I the only person who just wants a better version of my Switch? And now that this seems to be the reality, I'm very excited. It's going to be weird because if this is all true and it's just basically a Switch with a bigger screen and eventually has some new games, I don't know if it's going to feel like a brand new like generation. You know what I mean? It might just feel like how the Switch to the Switch OLED felt. Like, that's a night and day difference, don't get me wrong. Going back to a Switch OLED is an unreal difference. The screen looks like dim or something, or it doesn't look good. But it didn't feel like we're entering a new generation. The Switch OLED, in my opinion, was the quote-unquote Switch Pro that everybody was talking about back in the day. It was like a better battery, a little bit bigger screen, an OLED screen, a better kickstand. What else do you really want from a Switch Pro, right? I don't know if it's really going to feel like a brand new generation, especially if they continue the name Switch, like Switch 2, Switch Pro, Super Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Advance, any of those. Going with anything like that, I don't know if it's going to feel like a brand new generation. Maybe if the console's a different shape or looks a little bit different, but I don't know. If we're going from something like the DS to the 3DS, those were pretty much the same looking console, just with a different joystick and a different screen, but that's it, right? So I think we're going to have something very similar with the next Nintendo console. The enhanced games, I truly don't know how I feel about that. Like, on paper it sounds good, but then it also just feels like a way to delay having games come out for a long time. Like, imagine if there's a Nintendo Direct next year when the Switch 2 is out, and half of the games are just enhanced version of Nintendo Switch games. I'm like, what are we doing here? But I think this will reassure a lot of people. Backwards compatibility is the number one question we have right now. And I know people are going to feel bad if they lost their entire library. And if this is true, I think I'm going to spend some money on the eShop and get a bunch of games while they're on sale, because I'll know that even though they're in my backlog, I can play them on the next Nintendo console. And that's a big reason why I kind of don't ever buy digitally, because you don't really own it. So time will tell, but this is a very reassuring update. Now that you're watching this, if you watch the Super Bowl, did I get it right? Did the Giants win or did the Chiefs win? Am I from the future or am I a phony? And backwards compatibility. Are you happy about that? Did you ever care? Let me know down below. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you could. I'd really appreciate it if you keep up with my social media. It's fun talking to you guys over there. And you guys know me. I'll see you soon with a new video. Peace out.